Chapter 6, Chapter 6, Motivation and Engagement. Motivation. What is motivation? According to psychology, motivation is what causes people to behave. It is a state of mind, desire, energy, or interest that translates into action. There are many theories on why and how motivation occurs. The major theories are categorized into content and process theories of motivation. Content theories of motivation give emphasis on what motivates an individual. These are Maslow's hierarchy of needs, ERG theory of Alderfer, Hertzberg's two-factor theory, and McClelland's theory of needs. Process theories of motivation give emphasis on why and how motivation occurs. These theories are Vroom's expectancy theory, Adam's equity theory, Locke's goal-setting theory, and Skinner's reinforcement theory. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It was proposed by Abraham Maslow. His book, A Theory of Human Motivation, published in 1943, remains as one of the best-known and widely cited works in motivation. Maslow suggested that people have 5 needs and they are motivated to behave in ways that will satisfy their needs. From the bottom, the needs are physiological, safety, belongingness and love, esteem, and the highest is self-actualization. According to Maslow, we each have a hierarchy of needs that ranges from lower to higher. As lower needs are fulfilled, there is a tendency for other higher needs to emerge. Maslow's hierarchy of needs states that a person does not feel a higher need until the needs of the current level have been satisfied. As we reach increasingly higher levels of satisfaction for a particular need, that need decreases as a motivator. For example, we no longer seek food when our hunger is satisfied. The second theory was proposed by Clayton Paul Alderfer, the ERG theory. This theory was built on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He compressed Maslow's hierarchy of needs by categorizing into 3: the existence needs, relatedness needs, and the growth needs. Existence needs refers to physical and material needs. Relatedness refers to social interaction and relationships needs, and growth refers to self-esteem and self-actualization. According to ERG theory, all 3 needs must be satisfied simultaneously in order for an individual to feel motivated. It proposes that if a higher level needs fails to be filled, then a person may regress and seek to further fill lower level needs instead. Different levels of needs can be satisfied at any time. Example, individuals can feel that they are having their growth needs satisfied, but still feeling unsatisfied with their relationships. The order of the needs is different per individual. The third theory is Hertzberg's two-factor theory proposed by Frederick Hertzberg. This theory was also built on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Two-factor theory states that there are certain factors in the workplace that cause job satisfaction, while a separate set of factors cause dissatisfaction, all of which act independently of each other. So the factors that influence job satisfaction are motivational factors, and factors that influence dissatisfaction are hygiene factors. Hertzberg's two-factor principles are improving the motivator factors like achievement, recognition, and work itself increases job satisfaction. Job satisfaction refers to the attitude or feeling about one's job. Improving the hygiene factors like working conditions and salary decreases job dissatisfaction. The fourth need is McClelland's theory of needs, proposed by David McClelland. According to David, there are three needs of individual: the need for achievement, need for affiliation, and need for power. Those people with higher need for achievement performs better when they work on moderately difficult tasks. They drive to excel and set standards. They want feedback on how well they are doing and take responsibility for their performance. They always strive to succeed. The second need is need for affiliation. These people are motivated primarily by the desire to affiliate or be with other people. They want to have good relationship at work and they prefer having friends than experts as work partners. They like to be loved by everyone and they avoid conflict whenever possible. The third need is need for power. People who have high need for power tends to control others and make others do what they want to do. They have the ability to influence others. People believe that those have higher need for power tend to be leaders. Next theory is Vroom's expectancy theory. It was proposed by Victor Vroom. Behavior results from conscious choices among alternatives whose purpose maximize pleasure and to minimize pain. Effort, performance, and motivation are linked in a person's motivation. Vroom stresses and focuses on outcomes and not on needs, unlike Maslow. Take this situation. This is John. John works as a cashier in a supermarket. John goes to work on time. He works overtime and he gives extra effort. John is considered a model employee. John believes that all his efforts will lead to good performance, and better performance will lead to better outcomes. He may get a high salary and even promotion. There is an expectancy between efforts and performance. Efforts refers to as a belief that a particular level of effort will lead to a particular level of performance. And instrumentality refers to expectation that the successful performance of the task will lead to the desired outcome. And valence refers to the strength of a person's desire for a particular outcome. So the combination of valence and expectancy, according to Vroom, results in the motivational force to perform and act. So the stronger the valence or value of the reward and the stronger the expectancy that a person's effort will be successful and result in the reward, the stronger the motivational force to engage in the behavior. The next theory is equity theory. So this is an example. You apply for your dream job. You pass your resume. In your resume, there is your educational background, your talent, your skills, and your experiences. Plus, you give all your time, your hard work, and all your effort when you get hired. So these are all your inputs. Then while you were working, you got a company car, a good salary, a recognition and achievement, and enough breaks. These are all the outputs. So Adam equity theory is all about inputs versus outputs. So when you feel that your inputs and outputs are equal or are fair, you will be likely to be satisfied and motivated to get to work. This is the first element of Adam's equity theory. There needs to be a balance between our work inputs and outputs. Next element can be seen in this picture. So the two employee is talking about a new hire wherein this new employee make 200 more but work less hours than them. So equity theory motivation is when people perceive how fairly they are treated compared to others. So when we feel that it is not fair, we become demotivated to work. Next is goal setting theory. It was proposed by Edwin Locke. So in 1960, Edwin Locke put forward the goal setting theory of motivation. According to this theory, its goal is essentially linked to task performance and challenging goals with feedbacks. There are 5 goal setting principles. First is clarity. A goal must be specific and clear. Second is challenge. More challenging goals create higher level of motivation than easy goals. Next is commitment. The more committed the employees are, the more motivated they will be to work towards achieving the goal. Next is feedback. Provide regular feedback throughout the whole process. Feedback allows people to monitor their progress. And the last goal setting principle is task complexity. Think about realistic timescales and break down the process into sub-goals with regular reviews. So according to goal setting theory, goals motivate people because they compare people's current performance with the level of performance required to meet the goal. If the current performance falls short, the people will be dissatisfied and will work harder to achieve the goal. The last theory that we will discuss is reinforcement theory proposed by B.F. Skinner. This theory states that individuals' behavior is a function of its consequences. It is based on law of effect. There are 4 approaches on reinforcement theory. First is positive reinforcement. It refers to giving a positive response when an individual shows positive and required behavior. According to Skinner, the way positive reinforcement is carried out is more important than the amount. Another quote, what is love except another name for the use of positive reinforcement, or vice versa? An important component of positive reinforcement is that the reinforcement being provided should actually meet the needs of the employee whose behavior is being enforced. See the comic strip. So the comic strip is all about the conversation between the manager and the best choice employee of the month, which is who is Alice. So here, Alice was given a parking spot near the entrance for the rest of the month, and also was given a 2 days off for work, and also pizza. But this positive reinforcement is not needed by Alice. So it is important that when we give positive reinforcement, we make sure that this reinforcement provided should actually meet the needs of the employee. The second approach is negative reinforcement. This implies rewarding an employee by removing negative, undesirable consequences. So for example of this is close monitoring of an employee. For example, as a teacher spends a lot of time on social media and socializing during office hours. It's definitely unethical. If the principal starts to closely monitor that teacher, he will immediately stop wasting time and perform his tasks to the best of his abilities. It may seem a very bad idea to have the principal closely monitoring you, but it will surely encourage teachers to do their job during work hours. Punishment is applying undesirable consequence for showing undesirable behavior. Example of this is at a customer service center, a worker isn't answering enough phone calls. The boss calls the worker into his office and demotes his pay for his bad performance. By taking away some of the worker's pay, the employer is hoping that the employee will improve their work performance. If it doesn't, the employer might try another form of negative punishment like firing. The last approach is extinction. It implies the absence of reinforcement. As an example, suppose you have an employee that is continually disrupting your other team members from their work. They are doing this by regularly talking with while people are trying to work. So the best thing to do to show extinction is you could ask your team not to engage with this person at any level when they start trying to distract the group. So you can ignore those team members. So according to reinforcement theory, positive reinforcement, the consequence is likely to repeat behavior, while negative reinforcement and punishment is unlikely to repeat behavior. So that is all for my report about motivation. The next reporter will be Miss Christine Joy Biela. She will talk about trust and engagement.
Thank you, Ma'am Jessa. Good afternoon, Ma'am Inarda. Good afternoon, classmates. I'm Christine Joy B. Hela, and I will be discussing trust and engagement. As we all know, trust in all major institutions, including business, labor, and government, has decreased substantially over the last decade. That decrease has been marked in the last several years. Of course, that's understandable, given the difficult economic condition that we are facing right now. So let's define first what is engagement. Okay, so when we say engagement, it is a highly activated and pleasurable emotional, behavioral, and cognitive involvement in the work role. Employee engagement is about individual and organizational performance, while engaged employees are those who are involved in, enthusiastic, and committed to their work. It is a heightened connection between employees and their work, the organization, or the people they work with. So engaged employees find personal meaning in their work. When employees are engaged, they become emotionally attached to their work and also their workplace. As a result, their individual performance soars and they propel their team and organization to improve outcomes such as higher level of productivity, safety, and quality. Okay, so Gallup's Employee Engagement Index provides high-level insights into engagement. It is based on worker responses to their performance outcomes. It is presented by engaged, not engaged, and actively disengaged. So when we say engaged employees, these are involved in and enthusiastic about their work. These are the committed employees in an organization, while those who are not engaged are unattached to their work and organization, or what we call the check out. And the last one, the actively disengaged, they aren't just unhappy at work, they are resentful. So this kind of employee can cause lower staff morale and undermine the organization goal. According to Gallup's Employee Engagement Index, based on their studies, there are 33% engaged, 51% are not engaged, while 16% are disengaged, actively disengaged rather. So according to Ostlund and Blacksmith's 2013, employee engagement clearly had an impact in terms of productivity, quality, and customer service. So that was already proven. Okay, next. And according to Cummings and Worley, the goal of employee involvement is to enhance organizational performance and workers' well-being through increasing decision-making power at all levels of the organization. So workers are involved in reaching the business organization's goals. This is based on the belief that employees will take more pride and interest if they are allowed to make meaningful contributions to their work and influence decisions made about it. Organizational effectiveness scholar Edward Lawler, together with his colleague, identified four principles for building a high involvement work system. These principles can be summed up as providing employees with power, information, knowledge, and rewards. So power means that employees have the power to make decisions that are important to their performance and to the quality of their working lives. Information means data, including information on the quality and quantity of business unit output, cost, revenues, profitability, and customer reactions. The more transparent managers can make, the more effective employees can contribute to the organization's success. Next, we have the knowledge or the employee's skills and abilities. It can be distinguished from information, which is the data employee's knowledge, means, and actions. Improving employees' knowledge means a commitment to training and development. So it is important that they have the skills and abilities to make the right decision. Next, the last one, we have the rewards. Rewarding employees' effort can enhance organizational performance. Rewards for performance ensure that employees use their power, information, and knowledge for the good of the organization. Next, we have the strength-based approach. According to Greenberg and Arakawa, strength-based approach concentrates on the inherent strength of individuals, families, groups, and organizations, deploying personal strengths to aid recovery and empowerment. These managers don't ignore employees' weaknesses, but fixing them isn't their primary focus. Instead, positive managers focus more on what the employee is good at and how his or her strength can be consolidated to the benefit of the employee, team, and organization. Managers who take a strength-based approach help employees identify strengths and align their talents with their work. That was according to Robinson 2007. Engagement levels affected an organization's culture, its strategy execution, leadership ability, and structure and processes. That was according to Hayden Sims 2009. More specifically, the study confirmed that engagement leads to higher financial performance, higher customer satisfaction, and higher employee retention. Another way to increase trust and engagement for you to exhibit a high degree of caring and compassion. That was according to Asplund and Blacksmiths. One major study of federal employees offered several elements that constitute employee engagement. So these are the elements that constitute employee engagement. So the first one, we have pride in the workplace. Every manager should want his employees to manifest similar pride. But reality tells us that this doesn't occur frequently. Instilling such pride is never easy. Real, real pride is not a happy talk, right? So it is pride centered on purpose. Employees who love what they do and the organization to where or which they belong demonstrate their support for their organization in words, but most especially in actions. They do what is necessary to get the job well done. That kind of pride every employer should strive to engender. The second one, we have satisfaction with leadership. Job satisfaction increases when the leadership style of a manager meets the expectation of their employees. Next, the third one, we have opportunity to perform well at work. So, an engaged employee keeps an eye on enhancing their skills and explore ways to learn something new. It not only helps them increase their work performance, but also develop potential opportunities for their professional development. Next, satisfaction with recognition received. So, employers should show employees that they are valued from their first day on the job, give praise and recognize them. So, some organization gave incentive to recognize one's effort or achievement. Recognition may take the form of monetary or non-monetary awards or a simple acknowledgement of a job well done. Thus, recognition and rewards are based on their performance. Just like in the Department of Education, they have the performance-based bonus, right? So, in which employees or teachers bonus depends on the school ranking performance. Next, prospect for future personal growth. In general, positive work environment has an important influence on employee engagement, as it may or may not foster cooperative attitudes and respectful treatment. These factors in turn become drivers of productivity and performance. One major study of federal employees offered several elements that constitute employee engagement. So these are the elements that constitute employee engagement. The first one, we have pride in the workplace. Every manager should want his employees to manifest similar pride, but reality tells us that this doesn't occur frequently. Instilling such pride is never easy. Real pride is not a happy talk, right? So it is pride centered on purpose. Employees who love what they do and the organization to where or which they belong demonstrate their support for their organization in words, but most especially in actions. They do what is necessary to get the job well done. That kind of pride every employer should strive to engender. Next, we have satisfaction with leadership. Job satisfaction increases when the leadership style of a manager meets the expectation of their employees. Next is the opportunity to perform well at work. An engaged employee keeps an eye on enhancing their skills and explore ways to learn something new. It not only helps them increase their work performance, but also develop potential opportunities for their professional development. And the next, satisfaction with recognition received. You have to show employees that they are valued from their first day of their job. So give praise and recognize them. Some organizations gave incentives to recognize one's effort or achievement. Recognition may take the form of monetary or non-monetary awards or a simple acknowledgement of a job well done. So just like in the Department of Education, they have the performance-based bonus in which employees or the teachers' bonus depends on the school ranking performance. Next is to prospect for future personal growth. Also has a role to play in employee engagement. Of course, not everyone can be promoted every year, right? So, but growth need not to be limited solely to advancing to the next level. In here, employees are given opportunity to improve their skills. Like for us teachers, we are encouraged to continue our studies considering the CPD or the continuing professional development. Because as they say, once a teacher, always a student. Next, we have positive work environment. That was according to Neil, Ford, and Chugawa. In general, positive work environment has an important influence on employee engagement, as it may or may not foster cooperative attitudes and respect or respectful treatment. These factors in turn can become drivers of productivity and performance. Next, let's move on to ways of acting. So, as stated at the beginning of the chapter, which was discussed by Miss Jessa, motivation is complex and the models developed to explain it represent a complicated and varied theoretical foundation on which to base our attempts to influence our own motivation as well as that of others. Although motivation is complicated, in general, it may be useful to think about the following or the ways of acting. First, be self-reflective and proactive about your own motivation. It is difficult, if not possible, to motivate your employees if you lack motivation yourself. Carefully consider the factors that motivate you and keep you motivated. Your attitudes and behavior can be important and positive contributing factors in the overall motivational climate. The second one, be aware that what motivates you is not necessarily what will motivate others. Be cognizant of the different or the differences among people in terms of what they need from you and the organization to motivate them. People differ in terms of needs, personality, attitudes, and values. For example, some employees might want a great deal of freedom and autonomy, whereas others might respond better to closer supervision and feedback. Some might be motivated from promotional opportunities, whereas others might value the opportunity to continue work with members of a work group that they enjoy. So employees are diverse in many ways, and employers must be aware of that. The third one, have realistic expectation about the extent to which you can influence the motivation of others. Certainly, there were many things suggested on this chapter that have shown to positively influence motivation. But it is important to remember that motivation is internal to the individual. So as a manager, you cannot motivate everyone, right? So there might be people who, despite your efforts or your best effort, simply are not motivated to work towards organizational goals. In those cases, it might just be a poor fit between the organization and the individuals. Likewise, if you find yourself in a position where your motivation is consistently lacking and despite your best effort, the situation does not appear likely to change, then it might be best for you to find organizational circumstances in which your public service contribution will be more positive. Next, participate in setting clear and challenging goals. Goal setting is important from several perspectives, particularly if established in a participative process. Goal setting clarifies shared objectives, provides an opportunity for communication, enhances self-efficacy and commitment, and provides the basic for tracking performance. However, it is not enough to simply establish goals. Once goals are established, you should provide information so that people can track their progress and know when and how well they have reached the goals. This information can be motivating in and of itself for some people. Feedback is particularly important to people with a high achievement need, but in general, people who participate in the formation of goals and become committed to them want information so that they can assess their progress in achieving the goals. So you should establish a good collaboration or communication with your employees. Next, think about the salience of various rewards. Because different people are motivated by different things, different rewards will have more or less value to them. Do not assume that the rewards that would be meaningful for one person or for yourself will be the same for everyone else. Again, we are diverse. So ask people about their plans, personal goals, and aspirations. Talk to them about what makes their work rewarding for them. Ask them what they want from you so that they will do their best. Listen to what they tell you about what makes them enthusiastic, discouraged, and energized. Then do what you can to provide rewards that are valuable to them. Also, make clear the connections between performance and rewards. Let people know what they will need to accomplish to earn the rewards they desire. Talk with employees about their abilities and interests, and jointly identify the resources, training, and experience. Next, be honest with people about what rewards are possible and what rewards are not. If you promise more than you actually can deliver, then you might end up doing more damage than good, particularly in the public sector. It is critical to be clear about what you can and cannot do in terms of monetary rewards, promotions, changes to assignments, and other matters over which you might not have complete control. If there is something that is important to a particular employee, then explain clearly what you can and cannot do in that regard. For example, although an immediate promotion might not be possible, it might be feasible to assign a person to manage a task force or special committee so that this employee can gain supervisory experience. If you work hard to help your employees secure the rewards they desire, then they are more likely to work hard to achieve them. Number 7, although people might be different in terms of personality, wants, goals, and needs, realize that they also want to be treated fairly. Employees do not work in a vacuum. They make comparisons. When employees think that there is an inequity, they might well act to correct it. Rewards, consequences, and outcomes need not to be the same for everyone, but they should be perceived by employees as fair and equitable relative to how their inputs compare with the inputs of others. Listen to what people say in this regard. Be open about the variety of factors that can influence pay, working conditions, and other rewards or factors that people might view as inequitable. Number 8, remember that motivation is not just about the characteristic of people. It also is about the work that you would ask them to do. To maintain motivation, the work itself needs to be satisfying and meaningful. Jobs that are repetitive, lack variety, allow little autonomy, or have little effect on others are inherently unsatisfying, not to mention boring. It makes sense then to work with employees to make their work as interesting and satisfying as possible. But we should mention a cautionary note. Make sure that people want to enrich their jobs. Ask them what they would like to see change. If people are interested, then work with them to create whole jobs so that they can use a variety of skills and abilities to accomplish something important and tangible. Next, the last one we have, think about the life stages of the people you work with as a means of understanding the challenges they face and offer appropriate support. It is important to recognize the roles of other factors such as lifestyle, gender, cultural differences, and changes in family structure, as well as the influence of factors related to the organizational context such as perceptions of climate and the position and levels of employees. In an organization, we should treat each other as a family. So, to sum it up, when employees are engaged, physical, emotional, and cognitive, they will invest significant energy to complete their work and achieve positive organizational outcomes.